fudge is this? Poop. Ha ha ha. Big funny. Oh no. Yeah, I'm trying something different, so here we go. I don't know if I even want to do this, but we're gonna. I want to try something new. I don't know. I'm bored. Sick of the old same Minecraft streams, so I'm just gonna see how long I can hold out on saying this stuff. I'm just gonna annoy my Discord though really quickly. I'm just gonna annoy my Discord, hold on. Okay. Alright, well, here goes nothing. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hi guys, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hey, do you know Technoblade? I know Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade's not gonna come on here. Technoblade, explosive. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Do you guys like the Christmas music? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Just to see how long I can go for, Sam. I know, Technoblade sounds no longer like a thing. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. That's weird blue. What is a Technoblade? I don't know what a Technoblade is, but I heard a Technoblade's pretty cool. So Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade no longer sounds like a word. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Who is Techno and why does he get no blade? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm doing this because I'm bored. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hear an insane bar. Short. Play Fortnite? No. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No music? Let me turn it up. You guys are going to see the Christmas music. Here you guys go. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hell no, you're not doing this. I am Technoblade, Technoblade. Alright, but Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Stop before I eat you. Oh god. Technoblade, 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 blade, technoblade, 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 technoblade. I like the part where we said technoblade. Me too. Technoblade, 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 blade, technoblade, 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 blade, technoblade, 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 technoblade. I'm not gonna be able to talk after this. Technoblade, 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 technoblade. This song does snap. Technoblade, 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 technoblade. It hurts you. I'm the one saying this. Technoblade, 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 take technoblade, 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 technoblade. Happy December 1st, everybody. Technoblade, 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 technoblade. Hey, do you know Technoblade? I know Technoblade. Isn't that guy that's really good at Skywars? Yeah, Technoblade is really good at Skywars. Technoblade is a god. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. That's 300. Technoblade. Because Technoblade's a god. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Plus, PewDiePie has already been done before. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm sorry, I cannot watch this once again. Sorry, it's fine. Technoblade, Technoblade, Please leave a like for my sanity. Hold on, I'm not on the right. Do you guys like the background? It's my hot girlfriend. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. He's friends with James Charles. That's scary. So, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You should at least replace the e-girl skin with mine. Don't stop until you say it a million. Dude, I'm gonna be here all night. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, Technoblade, Blade, Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I'm sorry. Yeah, bolts. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 420. Hi, Caleb. You should have done Steve. Can't wait for the Q&A. Yeah. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Devs? You're not saying it 8 half the time. Listen, I'd like to see you try and say it. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hi, Tony. Technoblade, Technoblade, yeah. Technoblade, 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 Samsy, technoblade, technoblade, technoblade. Why are you running? Technoblade, technobald, technoblade, 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 Samsy. I hear technoplague. I am sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, I've already said this almost 500 times. My brain is like, what are you doing to me? Technoblade, 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 500. Technoblade, 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 blade, techno, technoblade, 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 technobleed, technoblade, 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 technoblade. Scoot over, Mr. Beast. I'm saying technoblade. Oop. A million times, totally. Technoblade, 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 technoblade. You won't see me tomorrow. Technoblade, technoblade, technoblade. My brain hurts. My brain physically hurts. This is actually bad. I've gone in this far. I can't give up now. Technoblade, 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 dapper. The mouse won't let me leave. Alright, roommate. Technoblade, 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 techno-nick, technoblade, technoblade, technoblade. I was gonna make this a video, but I was like, no, it'd be easier to stream. Technoblade, 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 technoblade. I am not gonna want to hear this name ever again. I'm just saying right now. I'm never gonna want to hear this name again. Technoblade, 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 take technoblade, 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 technoblade. It doesn't even sound like a word anymore. It really doesn't. Yeah. Chat, what are you doing? Technoblade, 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 blade, technoblade, 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 technoblade. Does this Christmas music fit? I'm gonna say this as a friend. Technoblade, 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 techno cat, technoblade, 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 technoblade. It is very sad. Technoblade, 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 technoblade. We're almost at 1,000, y'all. Technoblade, technoblade, technoblade. I fell in getting over it. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 300 more, y'all. Technoblade, 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 Ninja. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Same, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm only gonna say this tomorrow. I'm gonna walk in and school and be like, Technoblade. What's up, Technoblade? How you doing, Technoblade? I'm doing good, Technoblade. How you doing, Technoblade? I am great, Technoblade. Thank you for asking, Technoblade. Technoblade, that's really nice of you to say. Oh, thanks, Technoblade. Technoblade. Guess what park you're in? I don't know, Tony. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I need help. Technoblade, 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 Blade the Techno. Technoblade, Technoblade. Tony, it is snowing and it is awful. So that's why I have Christmas music on. You best open the video in our DMs. Oh god.
Technoblade.
That adds one. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm sorry, Invisible Ninja. I don't know about that one, Tony. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't even know why y'all are watching this. Yeah, Breathing Creeper, we probably could. Technoblade, 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 duh. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. It doesn't even sound like a word anymore. It just doesn't sound like a word anymore. I know, Mario and Luigi. I'm losing brain cells. Mom said it's my turn on the brain cell. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, okay, Geoffy. I'm only saying Technoblade because I'm pretty sure Mr. Beast said PewDiePie like a bunch of times. I was like, hey, that sounds fun. I'll just do it with Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It's worth. Yes. Technoblade, Technoblade. What have you done? I don't know, Nico. You're scaring me. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I have to watch till the end. Oh my god, Nico. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Final stretch to 1,000, y'all. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. This music. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Why are people watching this? Hey, sweet Mario and Luigi. Technoblade, 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 oh wait, Technoblade just uploaded. No way, Technoblade just uploaded, dude. I love Technoblade, dude. Technoblade's the best. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade never dies. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Are y'all ready? Y'all ready? Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I can make like a nice beat with that. Alright, bye Blue Dirt. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Skipper to 8K before the new year. I don't think that's happening. So how high do you plan to get? I'm just going for it, Colin. I'm just going for it. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Is Technoblade that pig that's really good at Skywards? Yes, Technoblade is that. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my God, Sam, what is that? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I went to the Kawaii Museum. Hopefully, Tony. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Sad boy hours. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Baby Son, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. My brain. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Colin, this is not easy. At least you got the Christmas jams on. True. Christmas. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Why are you doing this to yourself? I don't know. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know, kill a zombie. I'm bored. Oops, that was off center. It's Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Bye, Stinky. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Probably not, Colin. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Zero? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Same invisible ninja. Same. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Y'all, I'm about to lose it. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Saydog? Technoblade, 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 Played, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Alright, let me just move my Christmas music over here. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I don't know. Listen. That's you, Tony. I don't know, P-Man. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't even know how to say your name. Is it Razy? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, 3 baddie? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Couldn't tell you, 3 baddie. Technoblade, 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 Tickle, Technoblade, Technoblade. Oh, great, Christmas music. It's even better. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. To me, it feels like it's been in like an hour. Oh, you did? Eluate and Skipper, bro. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's the goal? I'm gonna try to go for at least I don't even know. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm gonna try 5,000 Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It's not even a word anymore, y'all. Alright, hold up. I'm adding this picture to the background. Hold up, give me a second, y'all. Add image. Add and sorry, this is just really good artwork and I feel like it should be shared. Alright. Hold up. I'm shaking. Can you guys see that? I'm shaking. Alright, hold on. Alright. There we go. Alright. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Azarity? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What am I doing with my channel? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm gonna try Speedy. I'm probably gonna die. It's not worth it. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, Barry, watch out. Elliot artwork is way superior. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Nobody can defeat Technoblade in a fight. Technoblade's God. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I miss my cats. Alright. Thanks, Colin. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Tell a story about Technoblade. Okay, Technoblade is a very good PvPer. Technoblade went on Hypixel, and Technoblade met a bunch of fans because Technoblade is popular, and Technoblade killed Hypixel in a Skywars game, and then Technoblade kissed Hypixel on the cheek, and then Technoblade gave Hypixel a gift for Christmas, and that gift from Technoblade was a teddy bear, because Hypixel loves teddy bears, especially if it's given from a person that Hypixel loves, which is Technoblade. And Technoblade is just a very caring person, and Technoblade would do anything for Hypixel because Hypixel and Technoblade are in love. This turned into a fan fiction about Technoblade and Hypixel. I don't know how I feel about it. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 1738. I got you for the boys. Hey. Make a tired face. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Is that the end of the Christmas music? Oh no. It's the end of the Christmas music. Alright, let's go to this one. Okay, so it says no copyright, but this got copyrighted, so what do I do? I don't hear no Christmas music. Technoblade would not approve. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hold on. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna... Okay, we're gonna go to this one. Did I turn down my... Oh! I turned down my thingy. That's why I couldn't hear it. Okay. Stop at 2000 and take a break. Nah. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know if Technoblade would approve. Me neither. Okay, I'm not... Can it be one without lyrics? Thank you. Technoblade, 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 Techno... This has lyrics! Okay, got some jazz. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Praise the mouse. Got it. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Hypixel isn't updating? What's going on? Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. So if you guys want, like, if you draw something, I'll put it on the screen. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh, Christmas update. Got you. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No, Silent Night. It's not Silent Night. Oh my god. I don't. Fine. I'll do this. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Almost at 1,000. 2,000. Silent Technoblade holds me. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Playing Grinch Simulator while repeatedly saying Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Z? Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Oh, you made a drawing? Or die tomorrow. Okay, I'll put it on soon. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Speedy? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 20 more. What's up, Minty boy? Technoblade, 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 2000. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 2020. We gotta take a moment, y'all. Take a moment. 2020 is coming up. Just get ready, you know. All right. Technoblade, 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 What's up, dudes? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. If you're not subscribed, subscribe already. Technoblade, 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 some Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. In ASMR mode? Yo, I got you, I got you. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Alright, no more ASMR. I can't do that to myself. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Dwiz. That's weird. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Aha! Okay, Ellie, wait. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Who's Technoblade? Technoblade is an amazing YouTuber. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade is pink. Technoblade is a pig. Technoblade is good as a bed wars. Technoblade, 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 Blade Techno. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 43 minutes, Lucas. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm hungry, Technoblade, Technoblade. Someone's holding me hostage. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Send help. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Please leave a like. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Wait, let me just... Here you guys go. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, it is Foxy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. This has no result, I know. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Screw Twitch! Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Do you guys know who Technoblade is? I know Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Please leave a like, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Don't be sorry, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Okay. I want you guys to do it with me and see how long you can last, okay? Like, seriously. We're gonna see how long you can last. What's the point of this? I'm bored. On 3, 2, 1. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know why I'm doing this. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Okay, Tony, Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I don't want this song. Let's put on some Christmas lo-fi. Lo-fi. Whatever you call it.
Isn't there any good game out there that's free?
Jeez. Thanks. Okay. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Charlie? Sexy man. Technoblade, 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 2.5K. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my god. I sent you a video of how long I lasted. That doesn't sound right. Okay. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Dude, I didn't get another one. Oh, just got it.
Technoblade, Technoblade, Techno.
Dude, you lasted 20 seconds. Weak. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. All right, Speedy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Tony, Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Have you ever wanted to cry? Yes. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. OMG, you have no life. OMG, you're right. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Mystic? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 to the beat of Megalovania. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. How would that work? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Someone's gonna walk in and be like, shut up! Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I know, but I don't know if that would count as one. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. That's good, Tony. Technoblade, 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 Technomade, Technoblade, 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 Techblade. Thanks, Mystic. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It's my baby girl right there. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Rue, you keep coming back and you're like, what? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. People are fighting over me in chat. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It's alright, Tony. Technoblade, timing. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You want me to change that to the thumbnail? Technoblade. I'll change that to the thumbnail. You bet. Bet. Oh my god. Alright, I'll change it to the thumbnail. Hold on. I think space works. Oh, no. Technoblade. Hold on, I'm changing the thumbnail. Technoblade, but in double Dutch. Alright, hold on. Thumbnail's changing. Okay, it changed. We're good. I think. Technoblade, 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 really Zoods? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You like my commitment? Technoblade, 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 but Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Alright, this is annoying. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I would have thrown it in the towel by now. Dang, Chris. Technoblade, 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 Sharkboard, I don't know. What's up, Ninjax? Technoblade, 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 almost 3,000 Technoblade, 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 and Technoblade. 3K, boys. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I need help. That's what I need. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You didn't see the... Are you talking about the thumbnail? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Is YouTube being dumb again? Probably. Yeah, it didn't change. Why does YouTube hate me? Why Tube hates me? I mean, on the studio it changed, but... How long are you going for? I don't know. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I mean, it's been an hour already. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade wants to know your location. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You'll help me? How are you gonna help me? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Are you in your basement? I am not in my basement. I am upstairs. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You hear that, LU8? Technoblade. Whoa, Tony. Oh, Technoblade. Speedy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. There's motion at my front door. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I know, Omar. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. It's kind of like a tongue twister. It really is, because PewDiePie is easy to say. PewDiePie. Like Technoblade, 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 Tech the heck at that Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Invisible Ninja. It'll eventually get there. Thank you for the thumbnail. Love you, babe. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I need a drink. Technoblade, Technoblade. I need a drink. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know, Caleb. Technoblade, 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 Sorry Blade. I have FNAF AR. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Just don't spam, just in case. I don't want to get your guys's, or I don't want your accounts to get like disabled or whatever. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Do it, Tony. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Imagine if, like, Technoblade was a Pokemon, he'd be like, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Eluate. You're a real one. For everyone that's been here for a while, Speedy. Hey, thank you for subscribing. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh, hold on. Let me move that picture. You can't see who's subscribed. Let me put that beautiful artwork right there. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hey, thank you, Sad Hours. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah?
I made dinner. I'm not quite sure if you. It's like noodle and sauce, spaghetti.
Yeah, I'll be down.
Okay.
Just saying
You
Technoblade.
can bring it up. Do you want me to bring it up to you?
I can go grab it, because Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. My mom offered to bring me up my dinner, and I'm like, listen, Mom, I'm talking about Technoblade. Oh, 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 got it. Got your woe. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You guys know Technoblade? I know Technoblade. Technoblade's pretty cool. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my god, Beetlejuice. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thank you, Breathing Creeper. Plot twist, I am Technoblade. Are you? You sure? Sorry, my wire got tucked. I almost said Technoblade. Stuck. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Saying skipper. That's easy. Skipper, 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 skipper. Okay, never mind. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You guys know Technoblade? I know Technoblade. Oh. Give us a short speech on why Technoblade is the best PvPer. Well, if you don't know Technoblade, Technoblade is an amazing Minecraft PvPer because Technoblade is a pig, and he's best friends with James Charles. And when you're best friends with James Charles, Technoblade, like, Technoblade is just amazing. All right, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hey, Breathing Creeper, sweet. Hey, sisters. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hey, Technoblade. Technoblade. If I click the reset button, I could just hit start value and go back to the last one I saw it at. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Make up some fan fiction about Technoblade. Alright, Technoblade and who? Who's the fan fiction about? Technoblade and who? I need to know who's gonna be with Technoblade. Technoblade and Skeppy. Uh-oh. Oh boy. There's already a lot of stuff about them. About Technoblade and Skeppy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. They're both pigs though. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. There's people in my room. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm gonna mute my mic, but I'm still gonna be saying it. I promise. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know, Sad. I don't know. If you double the Technoblade, then add the amount of nerds, followed by the division of clowns, what's the Technoblade's favorite type of cake? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Where's the fanfiction? Alright, fine. So, one day, Technoblade was in the Bedwars lobby, and then he saw LU8, and Technoblade thought to himself, wow, that is one cute human being. So then Technoblade walked over to LU8, and LU8 was a fanboy of Technoblade, so Technoblade gave him his autograph, and then Technoblade kissed LU8 on the cheek. Yeah. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Listen, my brain is dead. Give me a break, Invisible Ninja. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Two-story. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Nevea? Technoblade, Technoblade, oh! Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Nevea, my brain's just getting fried by saying this so much, so my brain's just as dead. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Why am I saying it? I don't know. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh god. Technoblade, 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 Technobladettes. Oof. Technoblade, 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 almost 3,800. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm scared too, Nevea. I'm scared of what my brain is gonna do to me tonight. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, my throat is killing me. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I got a little bit of water left. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I can't believe I'm already here. Like 3,883, what the heck? What's up, lady moi? Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Test. What? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Full stretch. How are you? I am brain dead. If you couldn't tell. Hopefully you're doing better than me. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It is a lot of Technoblade primary edits. I'm glad you noticed all the Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. My mom said it's my turn on the brain cell. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade.
Want this for tomorrow?
Can you say Technoblade?
Technoblade.
That's another one.
Hey.
Yeah. What are these? Oh, those are cool.
Yeah, but you'll take them because they're yours. The
Okay.
shirt matches, and then just bring the sweatshirt.
Can you say Technoblade again?
Technoblade.
Alright, we got another one.
I don't even have screw.
Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I miss you guys, do you? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade,
Nick,
Technoblade. What?
why did you not do your lights in this?
I was waiting to get the star. Technoblade, 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 and Technoblade.
It's right
4,000.
here. The star's right here.
Oh, I'll do it after.
Just put it on the top.
Mom, I'm streaming. I'm saying Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade.
Nick, it doesn't fit.
Yeah. Technoblade, Technoblade. What's up, Just Dash? Technoblade, Techno. No. Ember, stop. No. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I am not okay. Technoblade, 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 Technoblading, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I heard. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Because I'm streaming.
Good job.
Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. For realsies by. Okay. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Please leave a like for my pain. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, Technoblade, 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 and Technoblade. Technoblade is really cool because Technoblade is amazing. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I am next Mr. Beast here, boys and girls. Yep. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. This is making me very upset. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Just dash effort just? I mean, you're right. That's a valid question. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know, Swan. I really don't. Neither of those questions I can answer. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I know, Dash. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It doesn't even sound like a word. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Dash just all the time. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You guys know Technoblade? Technoblade. It is the best way to spend a Sunday evening. You're right. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Let's check my Discord. What's going on? Oh my god. Not even gonna. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Swan, my brain hurts badly. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. How do you guys not know I'm not being held hostage by Technoblade and he's making me say Technoblade all these times? You know what I mean? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 21 others are watching this. Yep. It's pretty insane. 21 others, 21 others, 21 others. Wait, what? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yep, that's pretty much what's happening. Technoblade sitting behind the cameras, just watching this go down. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Almost out of water. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You're mad? Why, West? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't need a break. Don't worry. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Aw, West, what the heck? You know what? I think you should do, West. You should just watch my stream. That'll make it all feel better. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Y'all, 500 more till 5,000. That's kind of crazy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Ha! You wrote Technoblade on the thumbnail. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade on the thumbnail. That's great. Just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it. Come on. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Septimal? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Here, let's do some ASMR, guys. My water's on the ground. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Wait, Mom, can you say Technoblade?
Technoblade.
Can you say hi to my stream?
Hi, stream.
Say hi. Look at the stream.
Hi.
A little more. Right, the camera.
We're live, though.
There you are.
Hi.
This is how many times I've said Technoblade. I'm gonna keep going. Everyone says hi.
Hi. How you doing, Jay?
I don't deserve my mom. Alright. I don't know if I want to eat with this sweatshirt on. Hold on. Technoblade. 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 I'm taking off my sweatshirt. Technoblade. I don't want to stay in that sweatshirt. My bad. Alright. I saw a tummy. Nice. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No, I'm not taking it all off. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. My dog's gonna bark because he wants my food. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Where did Ember touch you? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. Here goes my dog's gonna start barking, so I'm sorry. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 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 The last one you should be screaming at Technoblade if you lose a game of... As if I could even get in contact with Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No! Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 300 more, y'all. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Just put a Zeri in a pig costume and say it's Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Ah. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Say it fast. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No! Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Techno. Please like the stream. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm in pain. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Jumbo? Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Lidzip? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What will you do when you decide to stop? Should I go to my sub count? 7,500. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No! You know Technoblade? You want Technoblade? Technoblade! My dog's like, no. Stop this, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm petting my dog, Technoblade, 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 My dog's wanting me to stop. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Brew? Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No! Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Is this unbearable yet? What's up, Alex? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. My dog hates me. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. It's alright. Oh yeah. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Please subscribe. I'm in pain. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It's not a PewDiePie chair, but I would love one. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Woo! That deserves a bite of an English muffin. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Technoblade, Technoblade, Techno. Should I go to my sub count? You were promised. Jackson, what's up, bro? Haven't seen you in forever. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my god, my Lofi Christmas song is like, the playlist was over and it was a really long time. I've never fully listened to like a... Okay. Chris... Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my god. This is actually awful. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm gonna leave before I have a migraine. I don't blame you. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. He's a YouTuber, Nick. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my god. I am like Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just... There's many reasons why not, Laura. But I don't care about those reasons. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thanks, Invisible Ninja. I'll see you later, dude. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Bye, Dash. Thank you so much. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh, whoa, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Alright, Nick. I'll see you later. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What is my Discord? Dash. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yep, Samsy, I am. It's Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. This is awful. I hate everything. I can't believe I even said it this long, like... Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Alright, Laura. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 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 Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, I don't even know how there's 8 people watching. Let alone how there was like 20-something people watching. Everyone probably got a headache. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thank you, Speedy. I mean, you don't even have to listen. You can just like mute me and have it in the background if you want. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm going to, Sam. I really am. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. At least I got the Christmas jams. If it was just me saying it, oh my god, no, I would have. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't like chewing with my mouth open. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm going for 7,500. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I can't even believe this. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Notice me, senpai. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm gonna lose it. Oh my god. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. I'm stopping at 7,500. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Popcorn, thank you. Okay. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. And I got popcorn now, so Technoblade, Technoblade. 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 Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Cast popcorn. Help yourself. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade.
I don't know what that means.
It's just, I'm streaming.
Code words.
No.
Technoblade.
What?
Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade.
It's just, it's a challenge, I guess.
Okay. Go with it.
And Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. My dad is like, "What are you doing with your life?" I'm like, "I don't know." Just choked on.
You need a drink?
I got one, thank you though.
Okay, yeah. Popcorn.
Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Why are there 8 of you watching this? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I know, Blue Dirt. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. What's up, Golden Lion? No, I'm not playing anything. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm going to 7,500, y'all. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, that's what I'm going to, my sub count. Oh my god. 1,500 more times, y'all. Oh my god. Wait, we have a 2-hour delay tomorrow? Really?
Okay.
What?
School just called.
2-hour delay?
2-hour delay tomorrow.
Hey. Let's hope that turns into a no school.
So 2 hours is what? 9:30.
Mm-hmm.
So Daddy can drive you.
What's up, Dreamo? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh, Technoblade. Yeah, I got, oh, sorry, Caleb. My school has a 2-hour delay tomorrow. I'm hoping they call and say, never mind, just stay home. You know what I mean? Please? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. ASMR is coming back, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. That's my. No, I'm sorry, Dreamo. Wait. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. It sounds like take no blade. Like you're taking no blade. Like a blade. Blade doesn't even sound like a word, no. Oh my god. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, I know, Dreamo. I've been doing that. Hey, you know Technoblade? I know Technoblade. What's up with Technoblade? I don't know. Technoblade. You don't know Technoblade? How do you not know Technoblade? Technoblade's amazing. You don't know Technoblade? What? If you don't know Technoblade, you're a noob. You're a loser if you don't know Technoblade. Uh-huh. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. What's up, Dabber? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. This is killing me. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I literally feel like I'm gonna throw up. Oh my god. $1,300 more to go. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Don't think of it as a number. Thanks. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yes, Golden Lion. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It is Light Pegasus, it really is. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. So that's why I'm doing 7,500. And if you are new, be sure to subscribe because I'm going to my sub count. So if you want to see me suffer more, then there you go. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. My brain is dying, Technoblade. Technoblades are holding me hostage. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. BRB gonna start streaming and saying PewDiePie until he joins my stream. Dude, good luck if you were to do that. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Almost 2 hours of saying Technoblade. Jeez. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Purple? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hey, GG. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Dude, can they just cancel school tomorrow? Literally, tomorrow and Tuesday it's gonna be snowing. And then it's gonna overnight, it's gonna rain, so it's gonna be super cold and icy. Like, why can't they just cancel? Technoblade, 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 my jaw hurts. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technocape, Technoblade, Technocablade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 1,000 more. 1,000 more, y'all. Woo. This physically hurts me. And mentally. Please leave a like. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I did turn British. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Do it. Do it, Wolf. That'll be amazing. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I am so lightheaded right now. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What counter am I using? I'm using tallycounterstore.com. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, not sponsored by the way. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 2 hours of saying Technoblade. What does my life come to? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Only 11 people are here to witness this. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Let me change my stream title. Alright. We back. Alright. Aye. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Elise? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Y'all, this is awful. Might seem easy, but your brain is like, what are you doing to yourself? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hopefully the views were worth it. I'm doing this out of my, like, sure, like, views and stuff are good, but it's like, I'm doing this on my own, but obviously views would be nice, but I'm just like, I'm doing this on my own, so I'm not, like, begging for views or anything. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Should I post this as a video? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Lakon? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 500 more, y'all. Home stretch right here. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hold on. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't even know what a Technoblade is anymore. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I can almost taste it. Me too. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm gonna write this on my resume. Said Technoblade 7,500 times. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Ugh. Almost there, y'all. Technoblade, 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 and the music stopped. Oh my god, my hands. It's like really cold in this room. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 no blade, Technoblade, 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 the high mells. Technoblade, 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 oh god. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't know if I think I'm just gonna quit, guys. I'm just gonna quit. I'm done. Ugh. Yeah, thank you guys for watching the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to subscribe. Technoblade, you got thought I was, bruh. Oh my god. Should I say it 10,000 times? Should I keep going? Should I go to 10,000? What brain cell? 10,000, here we come. Let me change my title. Oh my god. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You got this, thank you, Nevea. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What did I get myself into? I can't go back now. I already said I was gonna do it. Oh, the regret. Technoblade, 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 I don't know, Taylor. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Nah, Invisible Ninja. I already said I was going to 10,000. I can't back up now. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Just gotta stop with this angelic number. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Techno. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Please subscribe and like if you have not done so already. I am in pain. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 2,000 more, y'all. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. It has been the whole stream, Taylor. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Techno. No, Tony, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade. What? About the 2-hour delay? Yeah? 2 hours. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You know Technoblade? I know Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Okay, Speedy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. How long have I been saying this? 2 hours and 19 minutes. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I need an upload invisible ninja. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yeah, we do, Laura. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh, sorry. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I've never heard of the YouTuber Technoblade. Is Technoblade cool? How's Technoblade? Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. There is no point, Taylor. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Oh my god. Technoblade, 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 and Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Y'all. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Good. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Like I've always Technoblade. I always thought that like Mr. Beast, when I saw him saying PewDiePie a bunch of times, I'm like, that's probably really hard, and like I'm already having difficulty getting to 10,000, so I'm probably just gonna upload this because I need a video. And I know if I were to do it in a video, it like wouldn't be legit, so I'm doing it as a stream. So Your guys' head feels like mush? Okay. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'm going to 10,000 because I was peer pressured into it. What inspired you to do this? Completely nothing. Just me and my dumb brain. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I have to go pee. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Why are we here just to suffer? Exactly, Booter. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Please leave a like. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, cat? Carrot. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thank you, Carrot. I really appreciate that. Everyone else is like, ah, you're so stupid for doing this. I'm just like, I want to upload this. Technoblade, 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 Techno. Of course, I'm suffering though, so. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thanks, good. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Taylor, I've been sick of doing this since I was at 1,000. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Blade Techno, Blade Techno, Blade Techno, Technoblade, Blade Techno, Blade Techno, Blade Techno, Bazooka, I would die. Blade Techno, Blade Techno, Technoblade, Technoblade, Techno, Blade 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 Techno, Blade. So make a fire track. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Invisible Ninja, no. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I don't even want to see that message. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Yes, you have steered me wrong. This invisible ninja. Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I have to go pee. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. You know Technoblade? I know Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. 1,000 more, y'all. I gotta get started. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Hey, Speedy. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Get that no blade. Technoblade, Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Techno. I am a broken record, dude. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I no. You're in timeout, mister. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. No 15K. No 15K. I'm gonna die. Technoblade, Technoblade, Technoblade. It's easy for you guys to say. All you're doing is watching. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. What's up, Jurassic gamers? Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Tummy Gaming, $100 to reset. Technoblade, 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 Technoblades. Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Yes, Stinky, it's awful. I'm almost at 10,000. Technoblade, 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 It is over 9,000. You're right. Technoblade, 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 Technoblades, Blade, Technoblade, Technoblade. I had to put him in timeout because he kept saying 15K, and I'm like, no. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I have not taken a break. $50 to make me reset 500. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Bad dad YouTuber abuse. I'm sorry. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, Technoblade. Thanks. The fan art's amazing. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Sorry, Caleb. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. If I reach 10,000, we're gonna have a snow day tomorrow. Let's do this. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Techno. Thank you, Bazooka. Noblade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thanks, Caleb, I guess. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Come on, I'm trying to focus. I'm sorry, Technoblade, 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 itch, Technoblade, 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 everyone for Technoblade, 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 Technoblade never dies. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I have to take such a bad pee. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I'll put you in timeout again, Invisible Ninja. Do not test me. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I have to take such a big P. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I went to eat dinner. Welcome back. Still here. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. I know Iron Wild Wolf. I'm almost there. Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Thank you, Iron Wild Wolf. Technoblade. It says 10,000. I'm about to hit 10,000. Technoblade, 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 Blade, Technoblade, 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 Technoblade. Did my stream stop? No, okay. What? Wait, okay, no, I'm not even, that scared me. 10,000, 10,000. That just scared the crap out of me. Oh my god. If the stream really just crashed there, I would have died. Not 20k. No, Citrus Freeze. No, I'm done with Technoblade. No more. I can't. This is too much. I don't think I can live anymore. I deserve a sub. Thank you, Iron Wild Wolf. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Petition to say 10k? No, not another 10k. I am done. I'm done. This was a 2-hour and 50-minute stream of just saying Technoblade.
Chromebook laptops have up to
Oh my
12
god.
hours
Alright.
battery life.
I'm done.
Finally
I'm
home and not
Geico, screw off.
last thing you want to do is go looking for a
No. Bye, guys. I'm not caving into peer pressure. Screw this. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know what the stream was. I'm probably gonna die. Just putting that out there. So, all jokes aside, thank you so much for watching the stream, everyone, and I will see you guys later.